I would like to speak about engagement of stakeholders and recalling that MSP, of course, is at sea, but most of the stakeholders who have interest in this are more on land than on sea. So that's why engagement is a pivotal question. So further communications, even though audience identification is a key component of communication, we will try to illustrate by an example, which is not the one, which is one where you will find in the booklet, the handbook, which was provided and disseminated by the European MSP platform, but led by the French department, which is Loire-Atlantique. And I would like to raise that example, because even though MSP is only, if you have a strict understanding of maritime, of MSP directive, is only linked to the sea, Loire-Atlantique wanted to get on board all the stakeholders in order to define a shared diagnosis, in order to prepare, to design their local and strategies, of course, in strong linkage with all the public authorities in France, for instance, or collectivities and the state. So to do so, what they did, and you will have a look at their website, but also on the handbook, they defined and work with all the stakeholders to define a shared diagnosis, to design what they call the maritime and coastal capital, to design their future coastal aid challenge, which is what they called défi mer et littoral, which is a challenge for sea and the seashore in French. Thanks to that, and in order to get a full endorsement of the stakeholders, they designed a partnership charter, which was endorsed by all the stakeholders. So this activities of communication, because putting all people around the table, and as Patricia already explained previously, was really clear that communication are pivotal to explain what are the challenges, what are the issues, what can be done, was really essential and really well done by this department. Even though I will not make any remark on what is done by the others, but it's just as an example to illustrate. The purpose of this charter, which was endorsed by the stakeholders, was to contribute to the way this territory can take the benefit and contribute for the blue economic development via a planning, which is a SCOT. A SCOT is a schéma de cohérence territoriale, so it's a specific and public tool in which you can have a C part on which you could easily understand that MSP can be part of the answer for that. So they did a large consultation on that, and just to if you shift to the next slide, just and using a recalling maybe what Patricia has already said, it's already very important to recall that the engagement by involvement of all the stakeholders has to be done on all the several steps of the process, from the MSP definition, from its consultations, from its implementation as all actors in its evaluations, keeping in mind that it's very important to distinguish what are the role of all the key stakeholders in communications and what is to be kept by the public authorities, in particular for adoptions and revision of this. So all the communication and all the example which were just provided by Patricia just before me illustrate in which way all the materials of communication can play a role in engaging stakeholders in these processes and in these various steps in order to make them fully engaged. And coming back to Loire-Atlantique, I would like to raise the point that considering land-sea interactions, considering the choice of the scale on which you want to develop your MSP will be a good way to engage stakeholders. If you are a very high scale or very low scale, you will not have the same effect regarding the engagement of stakeholders. Closer you are to your stakeholders, better will be maybe their engagement, and for them to consider in which way they can accept or consider that the MSP can have at the end a benefit for everyday life for them. So this is the pivotal questions of integration, our planning, common plan definition for all our stakeholders to get on board in all these processes.